Hello, welcome to Health Styles Market. My name is Arlys and I'm the owner. Today, I'm adding segment number 4, which is stress. Talk up to you a little bit about that and how it applies in the issue of care for the chronically ill. So the first thing I want to describe is, let's say you're doing everything your doctor's recommended and your healthcare practitioner, and you're trying to follow everything at home. And then you realize that you had higher expectations, that you would feel better either sooner or more comprehensively, or you'd make more progress. And it's kind of disappointing. And you think, what am I doing wrong? What is going on here? Why am I not making more progress? Why is my healing not as comprehensive as I expected? Or what else can I do? Let's look at segment number 4, stress. So first I want you to understand that there's 4 different categories of stress. And I came across this because I was looking for it some time ago, but it's because I have customers who are pushing the limits, not making the progress they'd like to, lots of different subtle things that are going on. And then I'll say, so let's talk about your stress. Oh, I'm not stressed. I love what I do. I can relate. And I've always stayed up late and not gotten the right amount of sleep. I've never gotten 8 hours of sleep. Okay. And I do great. I've done great all my life with 5 hours of sleep. Okay, I'm not arguing. But what you realize is the customer's impression of stress would be emotional stress. So that means that what they're doing is emotionally stressing them out and affecting them emotionally in some way. And that's the only kind of stress they're aware of or that they're acknowledging. There's actually 4 different categories of stress. And Crystal will post this below, and you can use the link in the description box to connect with that and look at this for yourself or print it for yourself. So of these 4 different categories of stress, one is physical stress. We're aware of that. You crashed on your bike, you tipped over, you just fell down a flight of stairs, you're feeling physical stress. There's bumps and bruises, and maybe you had something where you needed bandaging or stitches, and we can acknowledge that would be physical stress. Yep, that makes sense. How about environmental stress? The toxins we deal with every day in our water, in our air, in our food, our environments around us, inside our home, outside our home, those can be an environmental stress. And then we have metabolic stress. If we don't have the right nutrient profile in our body, if we're not able to run the right metabolic pathways, as soon as the pathways do not work right, there's going to be oxidative stress, which is probably the greatest stress of all. And that's often why we're taking vitamins like vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin D. Those especially help with oxidative stress. And it's something that can build up if we're not addressing it often enough or on a consistent basis. And then comes this last one, stress number 4, psychological or emotional stress. This is a stress that can stem from various situations as work-related pressures, academic expectations, relationship difficulties, financial concerns. This is what the majority of people think of when they hear the word stress. But you might not have any of those stresses going on. You might have metabolic stress, environmental stress, or even physical stress. So the deal is, it matters that you tune in and be clear on which type of stress are you working with, dealing with. Maybe it's kind of built up in the body and you didn't really have an awareness of it. That's okay. But I want to talk about the adrenals and their interaction with stress. So here sits, the adrenals tend to be about this big. You have 2 of them. And they sit right here, right above your kidneys in your lower back. And these two little organs, though they're not very big, they do a lot. And they were made to help our body withstand stress of any kind. So here's what they look like and here's what they do. Crystal will also post this link down below in our description box. So here's your adrenals, and they have a pathway. And the adrenals are given cholesterol that is manufactured from your liver. Isn't that neat? It's not cholesterol you eat. It's cholesterol your liver is manufacturing. And the reason that's significant is because the adrenal glands use that cholesterol and it supplies the hormone, and hormones travel on cholesterol. Of course, we want good hormone balance, and so we need to make sure that our adrenals are healthy and working and doing their share, doing their part, and that they're also using cholesterol from the liver. And so here it goes, your adrenals, they're using cholesterol. Down below that, they produce pregnenolone. And then we see two different cascades, one on the left and one on the right. And so this one over here, it goes from pregnenolone to DHEA, which, just for your information, is your anti-aging hormone. Helps us look young, feel young, not have as many wrinkles, have more energy, have stronger bones, all those important things. Down below DHEA, we have testosterone and estrogen. So as a female, that's extremely important to us, especially as we enter into perimenopause and then work and move towards menopause and postmenopause. On this side is progesterone, is our key hormone, and cortisol, and aldosterone. So I want to just mention that you'll notice cortisol is in all capital letters and in red. And it's just a reminder to you when you print this sheet that as life goes along and you just about got in a car accident, you just about got hit at the intersection. And thankfully you were very alert and slammed on your brakes, quickly avoiding being hit. But what happened in the body? First of all, adrenaline from the adrenals is spit out exactly immediately. You don't even breathe. It's just instantly in your bloodstream. Cortisol. And then it's fueled there for just a few minutes, and you can feel that elevated heart rate and that the whole cortisol feeling. You're kind of like, oh my gosh. And usually now in modern times, we want to grab our phone and call somebody when we leave the intersection to let somebody we love know that I just about got hit, I just about got in an accident. You can feel the cortisol pulsing through your bloodstream. And so what I want you to notice then, that after that calms down, this hits first, and then this takes about 10 minutes, and you're feeling that cortisol as you drive away. And you're reassessing how thankful you are that you didn't get hit and that you had the right reactions and everything went your way and you were blessed. So then when we look back here at these adrenals, this is all handled by the adrenals, helping you to work with stress. So the adrenals also handle your hormones in perimenopause and after menopause. Also helps with, for men, their testosterone levels, and also produces that, what they need later in life, midlife. So here we have progesterone and estrogen, those two main hormones that we need, and we need them our whole life. So we're dealing with stress, and we're dealing with how that affects us and how that affects our chronic illness. And what we're wanting is healing, regeneration, improvement, that's a big goal, and this is a part of it. We don't want to be out getting in almost accidents, and here pours out your cortisol. But also just notice that if we're dealing with chronic stress of that kind, that affects our hormone balance in perimenopause and menopause and post-menopause. So there isn't any reason why we wouldn't want to also keep this in mind and keep this in consideration during those times, but also when we have chronic health. So we want to be thinking about our adrenal glands. You know what adrenal glands like? A nap, a swing in the hammock, a gentle walk down a country road. They like quiet, mellow, easy, low stress, and not this whole high adrenaline push, pump, push, especially push. That's a big one. That's a big one. So we also want to be aware that we're not carrying baggage that we don't need to. Baggage that makes us feel stressed, whether no one else is stressed or not. It might be stressing us out. And so additional things that we want to be aware of is your past, childhood things, things you went through with your family in the past, anything that's negativity nowadays, today. You go to coffee with someone and they're always negative, always complaining, always murmuring. We've got guilt is a pretty big suitcase pictured here. We've got expectations, pretty big suitcase. The mistakes of others. These are just examples to start your mind thinking. Are you carrying any of those? Are you carrying anything else that would fit in a similar suitcase? And this is a reminder, those aren't things we need to carry anymore. We're working on chronic illness, chronic health, and we want healing. We want to make progress in our healing. And so all of these things matter. And so here's this category of stress, and we want to be very aware, which kind of stress are we carrying? Which kind of stress are we holding on to? And what actions could we take that would calm that down, lessen that down, lower that down, and compress it down? So your suitcase doesn't need to be so big. Does stress matter in your healing? Yes, in a huge way, a very, very huge way. So give this some thought, get out your little journal, write some little notes down, do some introspection. You want to think about, what have I been through? What worries me? What am I carrying as stress? Just want to analyze, maybe discuss it with someone close, maybe not, depends. And give this some thought on what you can do to lower your categories of stress. And we will add a little more to this in category number 5, which is going to be work-life balance. And thank you for joining me today. And I hope you'll join me next time. Please push that subscribe button so you can keep up and stay tuned. And thank you for listening today. And I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.